As the movie begins, we're introduced to Stacy, a young woman who's taking care of a younger girl for the evening. The very curious Stacy soon discovers the girl immersed in a video chat on a popular platform known as Hide and Go Chat. This platform allows users from all corners of the globe to interact through anonymous video conversations. The younger girl shares a chilling urban legend with Stacy. It's about Smiley, a horrifying serial killer who in a twisted act sewed his eyes closed and carved a grotesque smile onto his face. The legend suggests that if a user types the phrase, "I did it for the lulz," thrice during a chat session, Smiley will manifest behind the user and end their life. Soon after, Stacy, driven by a blend of curiosity and skepticism, decides to log on to Hide and Go Chat from the comfort of her home. As she engages in conversation with another user, the haunting phrase, "I did it for the lulz," is typed out 3 times. To her horror, the terrifying figure of Smiley emerges from the shadows behind her, swiftly ending her life with a fatal stab. Transitioning from this harrowing event, the scene cuts to Ashley, an energetic college student, and the day has come for her to embark on her academic journey, and she's seen being dropped off at her new college by her loving dad. Upon entering her dorm, Ashley is warmly greeted by her roommate, Proxy, and wasting no time, Proxy mentions an upcoming party and extends an invitation to Ashley, which she happily accepts. At the lively college party, Ashley is introduced with 3 teens, Zane, Mark, and Binder. Proxy encourages Ashley to strike up a conversation. However, as Ashley and Binder were getting to know each other, their discussion is abruptly interrupted by Zane and his group of friends. The morning following the party, Ashley drags herself to class, and the remnants of the previous night's alcohol was still making her head spin. When she returns to her dorm, Proxy welcomes her with a teasing smile, and observing Ashley's hangover state, Proxy playfully recounts how Ashley, after too many drinks, ended up doing several amusing and wild things at the party. Ashley's cheeks flush with embarrassment. However, Proxy quickly eases her anxiety by mentioning that a viral video that's currently the talk of the campus, ensuring Ashley that her deeds will soon be forgotten in the wake of this new sensation. Curiosity piqued, Ashley watches as Proxy plays the video. The clip showcases a young man trying to read something scribed on his cheek while positioned in front of a camera. As he's leaning in, the terrifying figure of Smiley eerily appears behind him and in a swift takes the boy's life. Ashley's heart races as the video ends, leaving her in a state of shock and disbelief. An intense debate ensues between the roommates, and they finally conclude that the video must be a prank because it's physically impossible for someone like Smiley to magically appear and commit such acts. And with a mix of fear and curiosity, they contemplate the idea of testing the legend themselves. After much deliberation, they decide to give it a try, and the 2 young women go through a handful of online users before selecting an unsuspecting candidate. At first, they type the fateful message, "I did it for the lulz," 3 times into the chat. To see their sheer horror, mere moments later, the man on their screen is brutally murdered by Smiley. Panic ensues. Tears stream down Ashley's face as she grapples with the guilt of potentially causing someone's death. Proxy, however, musters the strength to pacify Ashley, ordering her to keep the night's events a secret. The weight of the previous night's actions hangs heavily on Ashley's shoulders as she walks through the college campus the next day. Later, she seeks comfort in the quiet corners of the library, and while immersed in her thoughts, she unexpectedly encounters Binder. The 2 share a brief conversation, exchanging contact information before parting ways. On returning to her dorm, Ashley is met with an enthusiastic Proxy, ready to whisk Ashley away to yet another party, this time hosted by Zane. At Zane's party, amidst the lively atmosphere and echoing laughter, Ashley quickly identifies Zane and Mark. Eager to engage in conversation, she approaches the duo, and Ashley suggests that Smiley's legend might indeed be authentic. Her sincere concerns are met with mockery, and the group disperses, leaving Zane and Ashley alone. Wanting a more private setting, Zane takes Ashley's hand and leads her away from the joyous partygoers, and Zane, his tone now earnest, questions Ashley about the specifics of what she witnessed. He then reveals his own secret. He had tested the myth, and it resulted in the tragic death of a young boy. This confession deeply disturbs Ashley. Claiming exhaustion and the need to return home, she politely refuses Jane's offer to either stay the night or get a ride home. Making her way back, an unsettling noise from behind her causes her to spin around, scanning her surroundings. But when she did turn around, there was nothing. Yet when she resumes her path, she's met with a bone-chilling sight. Smiley stands mere feet away, holding a knife, his haunting look illuminating the dark night. With adrenaline pumping through her veins, Ashley dashes toward her dorm, each footstep echoing her frantic heartbeat as she barely manages to reach the safety of her room, slamming the door shut behind her. But her momentary relief is short-lived, and to her utter disbelief, the sinister Smiley is already in her living space. As he lunges at her, his fingers only grasp the fabric of her shirt, tearing it in his desperate attempts. Panic-stricken, Ashley jolts awake in her bed. Rushing to her aid, Proxy bursts into Ashley's room, concern evident on her face. Between gasps for breath, Ashley tries to explain the traumatic encounter with Smiley, but Proxy gently soothes her, suggesting it was merely a terrifying nightmare. Wanting some professional guidance, Ashley visits a psychiatrist later that day. The doctor, acknowledging her heightened anxiety, prescribes medication to help her cope. After leaving the clinic, Ashley heads to the computer lab to delve deeper into the Smiley legend. The stillness of the room is shattered when Binder suddenly appears, scaring her. Noticing the research on her computer screen, Binder curiously inquires about her findings. Their conversation inevitably steers toward the mysterious Smiley, and in a moment of vulnerability, Ashley confesses her involvement in a user's death on hide-and-go chat, leaving Binder visibly taken aback. That evening, plagued by insomnia due to her reoccurring nightmares, Ashley once again logs into hide-and-go chat. After skipping through several users, she's confronted by the all-too-familiar sinister face of Smiley on the other end. And determined to understand the malevolent force that Smiley is, Ashley poses a question, but he responds only with cryptic and frightening gestures. Then suddenly, Proxy appears behind Ashley, and with a commanding tone, she admonishes her, imploring her to distance herself from this dark web of intrigue. Ashley finds herself trapped in this relentless cycle of thought about Smiley, unable to shake the haunting face from her psyche. Not only are her waking moments consumed by this dread, but she also begins to hear whispers and voices. These voices grow so intense that while seated in the library one day, they push her to her breaking point. Gripped by sudden fury, she violently slams her laptop repeatedly on the table until it shatters. Believing wholeheartedly that Smiley is not just a figment of her imagination, but a very real and imminent threat, Ashley decides to approach the police. She hopes that by reporting the incident, they might provide some form of protection or at least open an investigation. The officer patiently listens to her tale, but his skeptical eyes give away his thoughts even before he speaks them. Dismissing her fears as a mere manifestation of her deteriorating mental state, he suggests she consult a psychiatrist instead of filing an official complaint. Feeling more isolated and desperate than ever, Ashley revisits her psychiatrist, and she's visibly shaken, the weight of her experiences bearing heavily down on her. Observing her heightened sense of distress, the psychiatrist prescribes a sedative to provide her with a brief escape into sleep's embrace. Later, Ashley encounters Binder, and in a gesture of kindness and perhaps concern, Binder gifts her his old laptop. This growing intimacy between the two climaxes in a tender moment, but their closeness is soon interrupted when Proxy steps into the room. Sensing the need to depart, Binder takes his leave, and Proxy, sensing the escalating strain on Ashley, reveals her plan to visit her parents for a little while. She hopes the change of environment might help her clear her head and regain her sanity. Recognizing Proxy's need for a breather, Ashley supports her decision. As darkness blankets the town, Ashley's phone rings with a video call from Proxy, and the tension is palpable on Proxy's face as she shares her concern about Zane, who's become unreachable. The two friends, deeply entwined in the Smiley web of horror, immediately jump to the worst possible conclusions. The idea of involving the police crosses Proxy's mind, but given their previous dismissive encounter, Ashley quickly discards it. She proposes a plan to personally check on Zane, with Binder by her side as backup. Arriving at Zane's residence, an eerie silence grabs Ashley, knocking softly, but on her second knock, she discovers that the door swings open effortlessly, revealing a dimly lit interior with faint strains of music playing. An uneasy feeling settles in her stomach, and Ashley spots a flashlight discarded on the floor and uses it to navigate the chaos inside. The house appears to have been subjected to some form of struggle. Following the muffled sound of music, she stumbles upon Zane's computer room, and and the grisly sight of Zane's bloodied body lying on the floor shocks her to her very core. To compound the horror, Smiley's grotesque face materializes on the computer screen, mockingly waving at her. Overwhelmed by rage and despair, Ashley throws the monitor to the ground and shatters it, and after a while, a thing on the floor catches her eye, and it was a gun. She swiftly grabs it, deciding it might offer some form of protection, and as she hurries toward her home, she dials the number of the police officer that she spoke to about the Smiley incident, and he answers, but the connection is abruptly severed. Once safely inside her house, she breaks the grim news to Proxy about Zane's death. Time seems to blur until Ashley is jolted back to reality by an approaching sound at her door. Heart pounding, she raises the gun in trembling hands, ready to defend herself. The door inches open, and without hesitation, she fires. A familiar figure crumbles to the ground. A wave of horror washes over Ashley as she realizes that she's mistakenly shot Binder. In a moment of despair, Ashley collapses beside Binder, tears streaming down her face, whispering reassurances that she herself didn't believe in. The nightmarish scenario takes another dark twist as Smiley emerges, mercilessly slashing Binder's throat. Ashley, driven by sheer adrenaline and fear, dashes into the safety of her home. She rushes into her room, pressing her weight against the door, pistol aimed and ready, but in a terrifying turn of events, Smiley materializes right behind her. She desperately pulls the trigger, but the gun jams, and the room's door inches open, revealing a group of Smileys, their malevolent grins promising nothing but terror. Consumed by panic and seeing no way out, Ashley makes a desperate decision. She leaps out the window, and the tragic fall that follows marks the end of her tormented journey. The tense atmosphere shifts to one of eerie calm as the Smileys begin to unveil their true identities. One by one, masks are removed, revealing familiar faces: Stacy, Zane, and Mark. Even Binder's death was just a cruel act, and these individuals, once friends or classmates of Ashley's, were the masterminds of these twisted actions. They revel in the idea of immortalizing Smiley as the world's first online serial killer. As the group disperses, Zane and Proxy share a private moment on a video call, and Proxy, her face a mix of remorse and confusion, questions their gruesome actions. In a mocking response, Zane types, "I did it for the lulz" 3 times, making fun of the very legend that they used to terrorize Ashley. However, the line between reality and fiction blurs once again as the real Smiley suddenly appears, thrusting a blade through Proxy's eye, ending her life in a shocking twist. Smiley's menacing wave at the screen serves as a chilling reminder that some legends are best left untouched, for they might just turn out to be terrifyingly real. If you want to watch more creepy horror movie recaps, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. We'll see you next time. Bye.